Southern California. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. Decided to hop on top of an individual. He was out of town, going down to one of the curvy Herbie. So what's good with everybody? What's good with the folks out there on this Saturday? Probably enjoying themselves. You know, it is a lovely day today, at least down here. You know, it's warm, but not too hot. So, perfect to be out and about. Whoopsie! Let me just set this up. Oh shit, what the hell did I do? What's cracking? Jose? Word. Oh, and if anybody's interested in the whole FC case and everything like that, right? On my other channel, I did post a video that I had found, right? That I found interesting, right? Where they dissect the whole jailhouse video. It's quite interesting. You know, I thought people, you know, were maybe, you know, reaching, right? When they were talking about the FC case, but now, they made a believer out of me. There's definitely something fishy going on. I can agree to that. Now, what exactly that is, I have no fucking idea, but there's some. Now, when I mean something, I'm not saying that it's related to like Trump or that Trump's involved or anything like that, right? But I'm saying like there's something going on, right? So for the ones that think that I'm just a hater towards Trump, it's like, no, I never said Trump in any of that. People assume, right? But you know, it's not what I'm trying to say. I mean, it could have been somebody else for all we know. I don't know. I mean, Epstein, you know, did dabbled with a whole lot of powerful people with a lot of money. You know, not just Trump, but a whole lot. Because you'll be, you know, money will make people do a lot of crazy shit, especially if we're talking about a lot of money, right? Hi, hello there, BMW. You know, especially if they're trying to take care of their or trying to hold their company, right? That we're talking about a gang of feria. You know, because some of the people own some big companies out there, right? And if they lose it all, you know, so I'm pretty sure they're willing to gamble. Shit, either that or lose their fortune and end up in jail. Shit. Flame, hello there. What's cracking like your desk fool? What's good? What's good? The homie Derek is definitely up in the building. Oh yeah, his own island. His own island. His own island. All that money and success and what they choose to do with it, huh? Like, so you have the ability to do anything you want, and what you decide to do is get yourself an island. That way you can take little kids there and molest them. That is crazy. It's insane. I don't know what's more insane. The people that actually do the actions or the ones that defend them. Like, no, they're innocent. Like are you being serious right now? People are just strange. Good. How about yourself? How's your Saturday going? How's everybody's Saturday going? Just getting ready for work. That's right. Make the bacon. Happy birthday, man. Oh, you're happy. It ain't my birthday, but thank you. Happy birthday. Money, money, money. Money. Yeah. Like that? Mac Daddy. Oh, Mac Daddy. All right, all right. Yeah, cool. Man, what? I don't know why the fuck. Homie over here calling me. Like, bro, why do you choose to call me when you see that I'm doing your life? Is it staticky? I think it was probably staticky right now because I had the homie calling me right now. How about now? Can you hear me now? Because sometimes it tends to do that when I'm getting like a fucking phone call in. You know, we got that cheapo Obama. Oh, wait, that's not around no more, huh? Trump put an end to all of that. Trump put an end to a whole lot of things. Except the Epstein scandal. Yeah, I think that's probably what it was because he was calling. Oh, is it? I don't know. Probably because I got that cheap Obama, plan. We broke folks. We can't afford the good stuff. We're stuck at the bottom. I'm gonna have to bring out the frying pan with the fucking hanger, like the old days, like those old school TVs. That was brutal. The old school TVs were brutal, bro. Every time you had to change the channel, you had to get up. Man. And you had to fix the antenna, get it to the right spot. We came a long way. We came a long way. It's okay. Or did I click on something? Nah, it probably is my phone, or it's probably my signal right now. Probably got some cheap ass signal right now. It's a conspiracy. It's because I was talking about Epstein. That's what it is. Since I'm talking about Epstein, that's what it is. They're trying to silence me. It's a good thing that I have my, mind together. If not, I would be one of these individuals that do that. My favorite YouTube snitch, Renegade Media, made a video about him getting out that food can't control his head. He cries out of the blue. Oh, is the YouTuber's name is Snitch? Snitch? Who's that though? Or you mean Renegade Media, or is that what you mean? Renegade Media? There's a lot of people that come on here and complain and, bitch all the time. It's actually quite a trip. The very individuals that want to claim that they're here to give advice. What's even the purpose of Renegade Media Channel? I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know how to watch his content, so I don't know. Mental health, the old fools. Still think he's in the... No, you know what? I don't. I think for them, I think they feel some type of way about themselves or their situation, or maybe how their career ended, right? Like how they ended up going out, right? I think that bothers them, right? because of people's perspectives and views on how they view people like that. I think it bothers them that they come on here to try to rewrite that, though. Like, obviously, since they can't do it in the real world because they can't go to their, neighborhoods or mingle around their old, homies, they try to rewrite their story on the internet, right? Like, getting a new batch of people to now see them as gangsters and people that idolize their reputation or their career or what they have done, right? Because once you go out, it all the shit that you did, it doesn't count for shit. It don't matter. It flies out the window. So on the internet, right? They're trying to get that praise back, right? They like that feeling, right? They maybe it bothers them that that feeling is absent now, right? So they come and now rewrite that, right? Hoping to get praised by now different people online, right? To regain that. Like, oh, that's right, my boy, you a real OG, you a real one. Damn, my boy, you really did that, and etc. Because it really seems like that's their angle and their goal, right? And that's the reason why their stories get more outlandish and outlandish as time goes. Because there's only so much you're going to be able to tell, right? That these individuals now just start winging it. And it's even more crazy that they try to pass it off as like facts, though. Like, no, real story, true story. I bet it is. Dishonorable discharge. I never snitched. You work with the cops. Yeah, but I think that that's just like their angle, because if it really wasn't, or they didn't care about stuff like that, like, let's say, for the ones that defend them, like, oh, nah, well, they don't care about none of that shit no more. They're just looking to help, talk kids out of it. Like, no, it's not. You want to know how we know this information? Because when you ask them, well, what exactly happened? Like, what happened in your career? Like, they refuse to admit and acknowledge that they told, Someone that doesn't care no more and all that, oh yeah, I cooperated with law enforcement, I did it. All right, that's somebody that has accepted his path, his choices, and he's okay with it, and now he's looking to better himself, right? But if they're refusing to acknowledge that part or hiding that part, right? Because they don't even speak about it, right? Or they try to deny it, right? Oh, I never told, or I never cooperated. When the black and white shows you did, right? I mean, we've seen the black and white, so you did. So the fact that you're not owning up to this, right, and are denying the truth, right, it only shows your real motives. It's because you still want to be seen as gangster and tough and all that, bro. Because if not, there wouldn't be no reason to be denying this. You know what I mean? You still want to be seen as tough and gangster by these individuals, by the audience. So your motive is not to actually motivate kids and everything like that, like you claim. It's actually to gain praise and to feed your own ego. You know what I mean? Because just because somebody's says something, right, doesn't mean that that's the actual truth, right? Their motives would say they're true, what's really going on. Their actions, pues. Like you may be saying this, but your actions are saying the opposite. So, and in the real world, we go by this. I don't see Renegade doing that, but definitely gonna do that. Yeah, from what I had seen in the beginning, right, when I first had seen Renegade Media's channel pop out in the algorithm, right, he seemed like he was genuine, right? He straight up said, I rolled it up, that he's no longer no good and yada yada, right? So people can't be mad at that. I mean, he told you from the beginning that he's no good and that he rolled it up. So he's not lying about that. He's not hiding it. So what can people be mad about? Like, well, he's a snitch. Well, I mean, he told you he was. So, I may not agree with it, but I can at least respect the honesty. At least he's not trying to fake it. It's worse when somebody's trying to fake that, right? When somebody's saying that they're solid, ultra reality, they snitch. I prefer if somebody were to say that they snitch than somebody that's trying to act like they're so gangster when they're not. That's just I mean, I don't understand how somebody could actually support somebody like that, right? Who's fucking lying, like straight up lying, right? But you're still gonna, roll with it. You know, and it's crazy because I have seen people who defend individuals like that, right? But then they want to point out the fakeness and other stuff, right? Like, oh well, that shit's fake, but they're trying to say it's real. Like, well, my boy, you don't get to complain because you support someone who you know is fake, but you still support that, right? You don't get to pick and choose. You know what I mean? Why is it because you find this entertaining and that not entertaining? Yeah, but that doesn't now justify you getting to select one or the other when they're doing the exact same thing though. That's like somebody saying that you know that R. Kelly's a pedophile, but they listen to SPM. Like what? Like, no, I don't hear R. Kelly, man. That fool's a weirdo, man, with little girls and everything. Like, but you're hearing SPM? Yeah, but see, this is legit though. This sounds dope. Like what, man? Get the fuck out of here. You get to pick and choose. Renegade tries to tell other people prison stories. Oh, he does? Interesting. What up, bro? What's good, Roman? Just like 6ix9ine, nice. But they slept with my girl, and that's the more crazier part about 6ix9ine, though, right? Like, you didn't have a problem with none of that shit before you got locked up, right? Because all these incidents happened before that, before he got busted, right? Like, oh, these fools were stealing from me, or these fools were doing this and doing that. Okay, you didn't have an issue with it before. Before you were still hanging. You knew all of this, but yeah, you were still hanging around with them, still kicking it, still doing all this and that. But now that you got locked up, all of a sudden it became an issue. All of a sudden, oh man, they did this, they did that, they were doing this to me, they were doing that to me. You're trying to justify you weaseling your way out of this, right? No, you went willingly, you participated willingly, you were having the time of your life, you thought all that shit was fun, you thought you were never going to get caught. Now that you did, you don't want to own up to your decision of being a part of all of this, right? So you want to throw the blame on other people, right? To save your own ass for shit that you actually wanted to participate in. And now to justify that, you're gonna say, well, they were doing this to me, they were doing that. Yes, play the victim. They all play the victim. They all play the victim. It helps them justify their actions. But truth of the matter is, you don't want to own up to your decision, bro. You know, you probably always got away with shit like that, right? You don't like to own up to your mistakes, right? So you always have somebody else to blame. It was always something else's fault. It was always somebody else, or because of this or because of that, but it was never because of you. Yeah, you're always the victim. The world is just plotting against you. You know, you're the saint among saints. That is just crazy. So he's making rap beef in because you know what? That's all he knows how to do, though. Beef is the only way he knows how to get attention. He don't know how to be successful doing anything else. He was making videos speaking goofy shit about cartels he knows nothing about the Mexican side. Yeah, that's crazy. But Renegade also makes up fake stories about prison organization at least one. Well, like I said, in YouTube, there's only so much that you're gonna be able to talk about. Like, let's say from your experience, right? Um, and even that, right? Even if somebody tells you a story, right? You come out here and story. Well, you don't know if that story is true though. Just because you heard it from somebody doesn't make it true though. Like, bro, this story's true, bro. So somebody that was there, he told me. Yeah, I know. The same people that talk about how they seen Bigfoot or their homie seen Bigfoot. Like, nah. He told me he seen Bigfoot for sure. Oh, okay. So it's real. Right? His homie seen Bigfoot. He said he was there when Bigfoot was there. So therefore, the story must be true. That's funny. People that us norteños were raza haters. We're paisas in upstate want to be something. Nah, but you know what? That's the thing, though. There's always been a clash between the two groups, even with cholos and the paisas down here. You know, and it's because of the culture difference, bro. The culture difference, you know, because people who are prideful in their culture, their heritage, right? They tend to have that problem where if you are not from the actual place, they tend to see you as less than, you know, that, right? Like, you're not real Mexicans, or trying to, you know, make fun of them because they can't speak, you know, proper or fluent Spanish, or you know, oh, la quiere ser gabacho, but for whatever reasons, right? And these individuals are not going to let themselves, you know what I mean? So it's going to create a clash and a conflict, you know, between the two groups. You know, and these individuals see these individuals as easy targets because they don't want any problems, they don't want no trouble, right? So they easy targets to rob. But it's because of the culture difference. Even though both sides are Mexicans, technically one side is Mexican Americans, Chicanos. And people can't say that that's not a real thing, because yes, it is. I have gone to Mexico. I have, you know, heard it myself. I know that they don't see Mexican Americans as real Mexicans. Thumbs and Gunner are liars, but they are good entertainers. They say at least same. Yeah, but it would be more. How can I say? They wouldn't have the issues that they have if they were just to be honest and say that, you know, that this shit is not true, right? It's not right, but they're gonna go ahead and tell us their tales. Cool. It's when you try to pass off something as facts or something as true, right? Like, this is a true event. This is what really happened. It's once you try to argue that, right? And you're trying to argue it too, right? That's where the issues and the problems come, right? Because then it's like, no, that didn't happen. You don't get to just lie. You don't get rewarded for lies, you know? The fact that people want to defend liars, mad at the people that are telling the truth, is just insane. Right? You shouldn't be rewarding that kind of behavior, right? Like, I mean, imagine if Vince McMahon were to be saying that wrestling is fucking real. You know, all of this shit is non-scripted and everything. People would stop watching WWE. They'll be like, man, fuck this fool. This fool's tripping. But the fact that he's able to acknowledge that it's all right, then people are cool watching. They don't mind watching. It's once you try to pass something off as fucking real when we can all see as plain as day that it's not, it's where the problems happen. It's where the problems come in. And people be like, well, people don't have to watch this kind of things and stuff like that. No, I understand that, but I'm saying individuals you don't get to reward lies, though, and they don't get to be mad when somebody points out you're lying. You can't be mad when somebody's just coming and pointing out the truth, right? And the misconception, right? You got to be mad at the liar for lying. He should have never started lying to begin with. It's as simple as that. Is security a good job? Oh, I don't know. I've never been to security. What are your thoughts on people who diss organizations like Hell's Angels, Mongos, because they are supposedly white racists? That's one crazy. Look, they are not. There's the difference between, let's say, racist gangs organizations, right? Like you have, for example, like the fucking the shining wizards, or the Celtic, what are they called? The Celtic movement or some shit like that. But you have white groups like the KKK, right, who are sort of gangs, not really, right? They do more, like political movements and protest and anti-government type shit, right? Compared to like gangs like, let's say, the Hells Angels, the Crazy White Boys, Fighting for Freedom, white gangs like that, right? That are involved in criminal activity and claim territory and gangbang pretty much. So it's not all the same. Now you do have some racist individuals within those, right? But to say that is the number one goal of that gang, that number one goal of that gang is to make money. Right? By any means, even if it means dealing with other ethnicities, Black, Hispanic, they don't care, right? As long as they're racking in money. While these other, groups do not associate themselves with, other ethnicities. They hate them for their ethnicities. There's a big difference, right? These individuals are willing to dabble with them. These individuals are not. And I think people just get them confused, right? And they just think that they're all racist when, well, that's not technically true. Gunner is committing goofy map. Yeah, but see, when you try to pass off your stuff as like real facts, right? Or you're trying to argue, and not only that, but see, the reason why he can get away with his behavior, and why people don't find his behavior as problematic, like let's say like somebody like, for example, Wes Watson, Blue Devil, and individuals like that, is that when you insult somebody but using comedy, when you're talking shit, about people but using comedy, people don't find it as you being aggressive or you coming and dissing. Actually, they probably won't even see it as a diss in general, right? They'll be like, this guy never talks shit about nobody, when all in reality, all he ever does is talk shit about people, right? But since he does it in a comedy manner, people don't think that it's it almost goes over their heads, right? Because he's making them laugh. But just because you're making people laugh at the expense of other people doesn't make it okay. You always constantly are talking shit about everybody, but yeah, when somebody says something about you, you want to cry and play the victim, right? And the reason why he looks like he's the one that's being victimized is because these guys are being upfront about it. They're telling you directly with no jokes. They're telling you what it is. That's why it sounds like they're the ones hating on these people. When in actual reality, no, it's the other way around. But you don't see it that way because they're making you laugh, right? So that's why you see it as like, well, they're just being entertaining. No, they're being disrespectful. You can be funny without disrespecting people and their loved ones. You know what I mean? That's why it always, people be like, no, but they never be. It's always people picking on them. Like, no, pay attention. Pay attention. They can't do no content without taking jabs at people. It might be subtle, right? But, you'll catch it in there. And then they get mad when these people have a problem with it. Like, oh, whose channel? Oh, man, fucking Mal Bone his wife. Yeah, but I was going, you know what I mean? But it's like, what? Like, that right there's an insult and a diss. But it goes over people's heads, right? So then they be thinking like, nah, why are these people always being targeted? Because they know what they do, bro. They know how to play the game. But some people are not stupid. They can see it. You know what I mean? Does the prison politics? He's more of the idea, man. Too bad he came out. What's good, G? I sent mine regarding this of the internet shit. I was thinking for more. Hey, well, shout out to you, bro. Hey, gracias. I appreciate that, carnal. Saludos. Likewise. Trust me, bro. Source. Serio, huh? I saw someone from a black gang say that Mexican gangs have the most snitches and dropouts. What do you think about that? Do you think black gangs don't have dropouts having YouTube channels? I don't know. Like snitches, dropouts exist in every single gang. Every ethnicity, whether it's an Asian gang, and Japanese, fucking Middle Eastern or Russian or white or black or Hispanic, yes, they all have snitches and dropouts in them, right? Now, you can say they have the most snitches and dropouts if you're in the California area. Let's say the California area. You have the most snitches and dropouts they'll use. Well, the Hispanics outnumber every other ethnicity, when it comes to the whole gangs, right? They have more numbers to them, right? Because there's more of them within the state, right? The population of them outnumbers the population of the rest in the state, right? But like, let's say if you were to go to, like another state that has gangs, right? But it's not the dominant one. Like, let's say, for example, Oklahoma, where you do have Hispanic, Sureño gangs. Their snitch number would probably be the least to the other groups because they are the minorities. They don't have as many numbers as other places, right? So other gangs in those areas might be a lot larger than theirs, right? So they might have a larger dropout snitch ratio to them, right? So, I can't say that when we're talking about like, Mexican gangs, right? It depends on the area, though. It's kind of like saying you tell somebody a secret, right? If you tell one or two or three people the secret, you could probably, keep the secret contained. If you tell 30, 40 people the secret, the chances of the secret coming out is a lot larger, right? When we're dealing with more numbers, right? So the more numbers, the more, individuals will probably fall off. Do you have any Oklahoma homies? Not that I know personally, but that I have met, on YouTube, right? That are, homies in themselves. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate Trump's second term? On a scale of 1 to 10, I rated it for sure, with no bullshit, -5. And I'm not even being, I'm not even joking around. It is that bad. This term is horrible. And I'm not even talking about just because of the whole immigration thing, the whole fucking. We're not even talking about, not even considering that issue, right? But overall, the big beautiful bill is a fucking horrible bill, right? That only benefits the wealthy, because if you read the bill, right, it only takes effect for those who are leaving at least 14 million behind, which I don't know about anybody else, but I don't have 14 million just lying around, and I'm pretty sure, most of America doesn't, right? So that tax bill is only, to take, in effect to those who are wealthy, right? That they just happen to call the working class. That's not the working class, bro. That's the elite. Right? But people just listen to whatever the fuck they say and they just go to, when you can look up all of this shit and read it yourself and you can see what's in there, which is a more crazy part about all of this shit. It's not even hard to find, right? But not only that, but his deals with other countries, right? Punishing those who we have even had a surplus, which is actually really difficult, to do, right? It's not something that just, happens all the time, right? He's punishing those who we had a surplus with, right? And now, exceeding them with fucking 50% tariffs, which is fucking insane. Why are you fucking up the good relationship we have with the country that's bringing us profit? This is just mind-blowing, right? Not only that, but just the other deals that he's offering to these other countries, right? Hoping that they'll bend the will because everybody needs America because America's the best. You're fucking stupid. They'll just go and do business with other countries. He acts like if people are like they desperately need America. It's not how it works, right? But, he spins it to MAGA like that because MAGA likes to hear that America's number one, even though it goes against the fucking facts. He fired the person that released just the facts of the job numbers, right? Because she just told the truth. She just reported the fucking number. Somehow she got fired because they said that, Trump's term is not going good because the numbers, that's what the numbers show. But you're going to fire her. Why? Because she reported the truth? That's fucking crazy. So what, the next person that comes out, when they release the numbers, what, they're going to be made up? Now I'm assuming. Right? Which is fucking, that in itself is a fucking trip, right? And just the other, things that he makes a focus point on, right? Like building a ballroom in the White House. That's a main focus point. Focus on inflation, the homeless problem. You're trying to build a ballroom dance in fucking the White Man. And people are saying that this guy's great and that he's the best. How? Tell me one good thing he has done. And don't say he's deported a lot of people because Obama deported more people than Trump. So if we're going by your explanation, that means that Obama was the greatest president of all time, which we know that you guys hate. So you can't say the immigration or the deportation problem because that would make Obama to you guys number one, but he's not. So give me one thing that he has done good so far. You know, and nobody could ever name anything because they don't know what the fuck's going on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my lunch break is over. It was good chopping it up with you guys, and we out.